Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Saima Amin from Jamia Hamdard, Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about a module, Evaluation of Biphasic Dosage Form Emulsions, under the paper Pharmaceutical and Biological Analysis. So students, let's see the learning objectives for this module. Basically, in this module, you'll understand the problems in a biphasic system, that is emulsion dosage form, and the evaluation for such emulsion formulations. As we all know that emulsions are the liquid biphasic compositions containing a mixture of oil and water that is made homogeneous with an emulsifying agent. The emulsifying agent ensures that the oil phase is finely dispersed throughout the water as minute globules. Such an emulsion is termed as oil and water emulsion. The oil phase, which is also called as dispersed phase, is dispersed throughout the aqueous phase, which is also called as the continuous phase. When water is dispersed in the oil phase, such an emulsion is called as water in oil emulsion. Since emulsions are the two-phase systems which sooner or later would separate, therefore, the stability of emulsion is very important for marketing and end-user satisfaction. The kinetics of emulsion breaking process is governed by three different phenomena. First one is Brownian flocculation, sedimentation flocculation, and creaming. The particles under Brownian motion collide and coalesce to form larger particles. At the same time, the particles cream out due to the difference between the densities of the particles and the continuous medium. Sedimentation flocculation is due to the differential creaming rates of particles, and the smaller particles creams out at a faster rate and the larger particles collide with the slowly moving smaller particles as they cream out. Since emulsion is a thermodynamically unstable preparation, so care has to be taken that the chemical as well as physical stability of the preparation remains intact throughout the shelf life. There should not be any appreciable change in the mean particle size or the size distribution of the droplets of the dispersed phase, and the droplets of the dispersed phase should remain uniformly distributed throughout the system. Double layer concept. Due to electrokinetic property, the biphasic system shows formation of a tight layer due to ions from dispersed particle and counter ions from dispersion medium, a diffusion layer, and the electroneutral layer. The difference in electrical potential between the actual surface of the particle and the electroneutral region is referred as Nernst potential, which is controlled by the electrical potential at the surface of the particle due to the potential determining ions and has little effect on stability of emulsions. The potential difference between the ions in the tightly bound layer and the electroneutral region is referred as zeta potential and has significant effect on stability of emulsion. Zeta potential governs the degree of repulsion between adjacent, similar charged dispersed particles. If the zeta potential is reduced below a critical value, the force of attraction between particles succeeds, leading to coalescence. As we all know that the particle is a solid particle which is dispersed in the aqueous medium. Presuming that the particle is a positively charged particle, then it faces the counter ions from the aqueous medium. The positive and the counter ion, that is negative ion, from the aqueous medium forms the electric double layer, which is also called as the tightly bound layer. As the particle moves farther into the aqueous layer, a layer comes which is called as a diffusion layer, where positive and negative charges are provided or present in the medium. There is a barrier between the solid counter ion layer and the diffusion layer, and this layer is called as shear plane. Now, as the molecule moves further into the aqueous layer, the electroneutral region comes where the positive ions of the solid particle are in equal concentration with the negative ion of the dispersion medium. This is the reason that this layer is called as electroneutral region or the layer. Evaluation of emulsions formulation. Evaluation of emulsion includes physical stability evaluation and the chemical stability evaluation. Physical stability includes the attributes such as appearance, color, odor, taste, specific gravity, sedimentation rate, sedimentation volume, microscopic examination for crystal size and aggregate formation, determination of uniform drug distribution. The chemical stability includes stability of the emulsion formulation, especially for degradation of active ingredient, viscosity change, pH change, and adsorption of preservatives on the drug particle, change in the charge density. Coming to the first parameter for evaluation of emulsions, that is visual inspection. The appearance of an emulsion is observed against a bright light to determine the uniformity of dispersion. The appearance is noted in a transparent glass container. Evidence of physical instability is also demonstrated by phase separation that is not readily reversed on gentle shaking. A change in color may indicate chemical degradation or microbiological contamination of the formulation. This physical evaluation for appearance of emulsion is required for patient adherence and compliance. Therefore, the formulation should be good looking and elegant in appearance. Limpidity test. Limpidity test is also a part of visual inspection. Limpidity is defined as an acceptable level of visible impurities. Spectrophotometric determination of percent transmittance is directly proportional to limpidity. pH value. The pH of emulsion formulation is observed to assess the stability of the formulation. Absorption of the emulsion through GIT is dependent on the pH, and also for topical emulsion formulations, pH plays a role. The pH changes due to addition of emulsifying agent. To know the pH of the formulation, electrodes are immersed in the solution under examination and the pH is observed at 25 plus minus 2 degree centigrade. The pH of water has a strong influence on emulsion stability. Adding inorganic acids and bases strongly influence the ionization in the interfacial film and change the physical properties of the films. The rigidity of interfacial film is strongest at low pH and becomes weaker as the pH is increased, as in case of asphaltenes, the natural emulsifiers. pH also influences the type of emulsion formed. Acid or low pH generally produces water in oil emulsions, whereas basic or high pH produces oil in water emulsions. Cross-linked poly,4-vinylpyridine or silica particles, when used as a sole emulsifier for methyl myristate and water, when used in 1:1 by volume proportion at various pH values at 20 degrees centigrade, it revealed that the particles became swollen at low pH, but at high pH of around 3.4, oil in water emulsions were formed that were stable to coalescence but exhibited creaming. Below pH 3.3, however, these emulsions were very unstable to coalescence and rapid phase separation occurred. Color odor and taste. Color, odor and taste are specially observed for orally administered emulsions. The color of dilute emulsions is mainly determined by wavelength dependence of light transmitted through them, whereas the color of concentrated emulsions is mainly determined by the wavelength dependence of light reflected from their surface. Therefore, knowledge of particle radius, their refractive index, and the refractive index of the surrounding medium all are important. Variation in color indicates the poor distribution of particle size. A change in color of emulsions may also indicate chemical degradation or microbial contamination. Determination of particle size. Particle size is performed by optical microscopy or through sedimentation method using Anderson apparatus, or by Coulter-Counter apparatus also we can determine the particle size. But none of these methods are direct methods. However, the microscopic method allows us to view the particle structure, and it is important to study the changes for absolute particle size and particle size distribution. Therefore, freeze-thaw cycle technique is used to assess the emulsions for stress testing for stability, and it results in increase of the particle growth and may indicate future state of the particles after long storage. The study of microstructure of the particle is also very important, and for this we have electron microscopy, which is a widely used technique for the study of these microstructures of the emulsions, because it directly produces images at high resolution and it can capture any coexistent structure and the microstructures transitions which can happen in the emulsion formulation. Determination of viscosity. Viscosity is defined as the resistance to motion between adjacent particles in a biphasic formulation. Packing of spherical particles is the reason for the viscosity observations in any liquid dosage form. Usually, larger particles settle faster due to Brownian motion, thermal mixing, and turbulence. The determination of viscosity is done to assess the changes that might take place during aging of emulsion. Emulsions exhibit non-Newtonian type of flow characteristics. The viscometers used to measure viscosity include cone and plate viscometers. Capillary and falling sphere type of viscometers should be avoided for emulsions. For viscous emulsions, the use of penetrometer is recommended as it helps in the determination of viscosity with age. In case of OW emulsions, flocculation of globules causes an immediate increase in viscosity. After this change, the consistency of the emulsion changes with time. In case of WO emulsions, the dispersed phase particles flocculate quite rapidly, resulting in a decrease in viscosity, which stabilizes after 5 to 15 days. As a rule, a decrease in viscosity with age reflects an increase of particle size due to coalescence. Turbidity ratio. Emulsion stability is determined by measuring the turbidity as a function of time. The turbidity of an emulsion is a function of particle size and concentration. Therefore, the change in turbidity indicates the change in particle size and concentration. In an unstable emulsion, particle concentration and size change with time due to coagulation and coalescence of particles. The optical density or turbidity of an emulsion containing monodispersed particle is given by the relation turbidity is equal to incident light divided by the transmitted light whole divided by L, which is equal to K pi A square N. In the equation, I naught and I are the intensities of the incident and transmitted light respectively. A is the particle radius, L is the scattering path length, N is the concentration of particles, and K is the total scattering coefficient. This total scattering coefficient is dependent on m, that is the exponent of the wavelength lambda, which in turn is dependent on particle size and refractive index. Usually, wavelengths are chosen from 400 to 850 nanometer. In emulsion stability studies, it is desirable to determine the ratio of initial particle concentration to the particle concentration at any time ratio n0 by n as a function of time. The slope of turbidity ratio, that is n0 by n, of an emulsion with time is calculated to evaluate the emulsion stability at different hydrophile-lipophile balance, the amount of emulsifiers and water content. The higher the slope, the less stable the system is. Determination of phase separation. Phase separation is defined as separation of the two phases completely. It is another parameter used for assessing the stability of the formulation. Phase separation may be observed visually or by measuring the volume of the separated phases. Cracking. This is the term applied when the dispersed phase coalesces and forms a separate layer. Redispersion cannot be achieved by mere shaking, and the preparation is no longer an emulsion formulation. Cracking can occur if the oil turns rancid during storage, and the acid formed denatures the emulsifying agent, causing the two phases to separate. The globules of the dispersed phase coalesces, and there is separation of the dispersed phase into a separate layer. If the primary emulsion does not become white but becomes an oily translucent mixture, then the chances of cracking of emulsions are quite high. Possible reasons for such a problems are incompatibility of the emulsifying agent, decomposition of the emulsifying agent, addition of electrolytes, or change of storage temperature. Creaming. In creaming, the oil separates out, forming a layer on top of the emulsion, but it usually remains as globules so that it can be redispersed on shaking. This is undesirable as the product appearance is poor, and if the product is not adequately shaken, there is a risk of the patient obtaining or taking an incorrect dose. Possible reasons for this problem is lack of stability of the system, or if the product is not homogeneous. An oil of low viscosity tends to cream more rapidly than one of high viscosity. Increasing the viscosity of the medium decreases the tendency to cream. Creaming is a reversible phenomenon which can be corrected by mild shaking. The factors affecting creaming are best described by Stokes' law, which says velocity of sedimentation is equal to d square, the difference of the densities of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, whole multiplied by g, and the total expression is divided by 18 eta naught, where v is the velocity of sedimentation of globules, d is the diameter of the globule particle, g is acceleration due to gravity, ρ1 is the density of the particle, while ρ2 is the density of the vehicle, eta naught is the viscosity of the vehicle. The following approaches can be used for decreasing creaming phenomena. First is reduction of globule size. According to Stokes' law, rate of creaming is directly proportional to the size of globules. Bigger is the size of the globule, more will be creaming. Therefore, in order to minimize creaming, globule size should be reduced by homogenization. The second approach is to increase the viscosity of the continuous phase. Rate of creaming is inversely proportional to the viscosity of the continuous phase, which means More the viscosity of the continuous phase, less will be the problem of creaming. Therefore, to avoid creaming in emulsions, the viscosity of the continuous phase should be increased by adding suitable viscosity enhancers like gamma-cassia, tragacanth, etc. Phase inversion. Phase inversion is the process when an oil in water emulsion changes to a water in oil emulsion or vice versa. For stability of an emulsion, the optimum range of concentration of dispersed phase is 30 to 60% of the total volume. If the dispersed phase exceeds this, the stability of the emulsion is questionable. As the concentration of dispersed phase approaches a theoretical maxima of 74% of the total volume, phase inversion is more likely to occur. Phase inversion is a physical instability. It may be brought about by addition of an electrolyte or by changing the phase volume ratio or by a mere change in temperature. Phase inversion can be minimized by using proper emulsifying agents in adequate concentration, keeping the concentration of dispersed phase between 30 to 60%, and by storing the emulsion in a cool place. The instability of emulsion is depicted through the process which includes flocculation, which usually occurs when oil in water emulsion is subjected to storage. The particles of the globules tend to close together or come together, leading to a bigger globule or a floc. These so formed bigger globules or flocs tend to show settling, and this settling is towards the upward direction, and this is the instability indicated as creaming. If the globule size is high, then the particles tend to show coalescence. The coalescence is depicted as or is understood as a fusion of several globules forming a layer on top of the dispersion phase. If the globule particles are in a state that complete segregation of oil occurs from the water, we say it is the cracking of emulsion or phase separation. This is again a kind of instability. So in general, flocculation, creaming, coalescence, phase separation are the parameters indicating instability in the emulsion. Electrophoretic properties. Determination of electrophoretic properties such as zeta potential is useful for assessing flocculation in the emulsions. Flocculation is occurred in the emulsions because of the electrical charges on particles that influence the rate of flocculation. OW emulsion with a fine particle size exhibits low resistance, but if the particle size increases, then it indicates a sign of oil droplet aggregation and instability. Phase behavior study. Phase behavior studies are essential for the study of efficiency of different surfactant systems, which can be determined by phase diagram. The oil phase, water phase, and surfactant co-surfactant mixture ratio is depicted in the phase diagram. The ratio of the surfactant to co-surfactant or using the mixture such as oil and water mixture is helpful in studying the composition for an emulsion formulation. The other approach to characterize these multi-component system is by means of pseudo-ternary phase diagrams that combine more than one component in the vertices of the ternary phase diagram. The composition of an emulsion formulation is usually established through pseudo-ternary phase diagram. In pseudo-ternary phase diagram, the vertices of the triangle depicts the highest concentration of the components of the emulsions. such as water, oil, and surfactant. In this slide, the aqueous titration of propylene glycol monocaprylate, which is the oil, and polyoxyethylene 20 sorbitan laureate, which is used as surfactant, and water used as aqueous phase is shown. The pseudo-ternary phase diagram shows three types of phases. The first one with a darkened area indicates two-phase system. The second one with a purple area indicates the liquid crystal region, LC region, and the third one indicated with orange color indicates the formation of a single phase system called as the emulsion or nanoemulsion. When the surfactant to oil ratio is less than 1, two-phase system is observed at the oil-rich apex, and the single-phase isotropic system is observed towards aqueous-rich phase when the surfactant to oil ratio is more than 1. In vitro skin permeation study. For topical or transdermal use of emulsions, skin permeation study is conducted to find the permeation of drug through skin. The study must be carried out under the guidance compiled by Committee for the Purpose of Control and Supervision of Experiments on Animal, CPCE, Government of India. In this study, the abdominal skin from Wistar rats is taken and the excised skin is carefully mounted on a vertical Franz diffusion cell. The receptor compartment is filled with phosphate buffer saline and is maintained at 37 degrees centigrade using a recirculating water bath. The specified amount of formulation is gently placed in a donor chamber, and at predetermined intervals, samples from this receptor compartment are withdrawn and estimated for the drug content. The amount of drug permeated indicates the efficacy of the formulation. It shows the setup of a Franz diffusion cell for in vitro skin permeation study. The cell has two compartments, the donor compartment and the receptor compartment. Both compartments are clipped together through a clamp. In between the compartments, the membrane is mounted. The sample to be analyzed for permeation study is placed in the donor compartment, while the samples from the sampling port are collected after the drug has shown some diffusion into the receptor medium. The whole assembly is stirred constantly with a magnetic stirring bar, and the assembly is placed on a magnetic stirrer for the stipulated time. Stability testing. Stability of emulsions is an important parameter for the formulator. The stability testing of emulsion involves determining the stability at long-term storage conditions, accelerated storage conditions, freezing and thawing conditions. The stress conditions used for speeding up the instability of emulsions include centrifugal force, agitation force, aging, and temperature. Stress conditions are applied in order to accelerate the stability testing procedure. First stress condition used in the protocol is centrifugation stress testing. Here, microemulsion or nanoemulsion is centrifuged at 5000 to 10,000 rpm for 30 minutes to assess phase separation, phase inversion, aggregation, creaming, or cracking of the emulsion. The second stress condition induced is freeze-thaw testing. The emulsion formulation is stored at 25 degrees centigrade for 24 hours, followed by storage at -5 degrees centigrade. It is then evaluated for any sign of instability, and the cycle is repeated 3 times to observe any change in the stability of the formulation. The third stress condition studied is thermal stability. The drug-loaded emulsion is stored in a glass vial at 3 different temperatures such as 4°, 25° and 40° centigrade for a period of 1 month. These are evaluated periodically for visual inspection to observe any physical change like loss of clarity, coalescence, or turbidity. The drug content analysis is carried out to know the percentage of drug present after storage at these specified conditions of temperature and humidity. The emulsion that provides smallest particles is the best stable composition. Emulsions with lower oil content are more stable over time. The stability of emulsion is dependent on the particle size, that is, the Z average particle size diameter. It is observed that in case of emulsion prepared with 5 parts of oil and 95 parts of water using 3% Igbal as surfactant, the sample when stored for 40 days indicated that the stability of the preparation showed particle size dependence. Initially, for the period of 25 days, the droplet size did not change much. The globule size was around 140 nanometer, which was maintained throughout the 25 days of storage. After 25 days of storage, there were changes in the particle size of the globules, and the particle size of the globules changed from 140 nm to 250 nm. The particle size of the emulsion showed increase in the size after storage for prolonged period, that is for 40 days. However, the observed increase has not resulted in phase separation. This report has been reported by Selsikova et al. In the journal Colloids and Surfaces A, 2012 issue. Packaging and labeling evaluation. Depending on the use, emulsions should be packed in a suitable container. The emulsions meant for oral use are usually packed in a well-fitted bottle with an airtight closure. Light-sensitive products are also packed in amber color bottles. For viscous emulsions, wide-mouth bottles are used. The label on the emulsion should mention that these products have to be shaken thoroughly before use. For external use products, it should be clearly mentioned on their label that they are meant for external application only. Emulsions should be stored in a cool place, but refrigeration should be avoided as this low temperature can adversely affect the stability of the formulation. So students, let us summarize this module. We have understood now that emulsions are the biphasic compositions prepared by intimately mixing oil and water with the aid of emulsifying agent. Since the composition is thermodynamically unstable, the quality control parameters therefore include assessment of physical attributes such as appearance, color and uniformity of distribution, particle size, turbidity, cracking, phase separation and phase inversion. The stability of such a system is assessed as per ICH guidelines as well as through stress stability protocol. The packaging of emulsion should assure integrity of the composition. Therefore, container closure system is to be assessed and the information on the label should be self-sufficient for consumption of the preparation. Thank you.